Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Welcome to the Traveling Tarot. This is your daily psychic forecast for Thursday, September 26th, 2019. My name is Stephen Dillard Carroll. How are you guys doing this morning? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope that this week has been a good week and a strong week for you. I hope that you have faced each challenge with determination, and I hope that you have conquered each obstacle just like you knew that you would, and that you have come out on the other end as strong or even stronger than you were before. We've talked a lot about addiction this week and being in the throes of addiction this week and having to conquer many different types of obstacles this week that may have to do with addiction. And I'm surprised. Generally, when that kind of reading comes up more than once, it's trying to tell you something. So maybe, perhaps, there is someone out there that is suffering this week, and I really do hope that you have found some comfort in the readings that I have provided this week. I really, really do. This is a reading for the collective today, as it is every day, and my deepest hope for everyone today is that they glean, something good and positive from this particular reading, regardless of their current circumstance. And as always, my hope is that when you finish this video, that you leave it feeling emboldened and empowered and ready to take on the world and make good and positive changes in your life so that you can live the best life possible. So with that in mind, I encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and share this video with anyone who you think might need that kind of encouragement and emboldenment, if that is even a word, and empowerment this morning to live their best lives. If you feel like there might be someone who needs a little bit of, or actually not a little bit of unconditional love, but a lot of unconditional love this morning. If you feel like there's somebody within your circle of influence that needs that, please do share this with them. And let them know that there's a channel out there that will lift them up and inspire them and encourage them to live the best life possible each and every day. So, without further ado, let's jump into today's reading. We have a major plot line for our story today, and we have two subplots for our story today. So, let's go into our main plot line for our story today. And that main plot line is brought to us by the Queen of Ariel, our matron saint of this channel. She comes up more often than any other card on our channel. So there she is, making her triumphant return, our Queen of Ariel. And she is mature, practical, generous, and happy. Nurture yourself and those you love. The ability to make anything more beautiful, practical, and wise advice. So there she is, our Miss Queen of Ariel. She shows up all the time in our readings, and that means that she has something special to say. And what a blessing for her to be our matron saint of the Traveling Tarot's YouTube channel. That's really great. But we have two other cards to go through, our two subplots for today. So let's see what those might be. Gosh. So our first subplot is brought to us by the Queen of Raphael. Okay. Will the queens have it this morning? We'll see what our third subplot has to say today. But there's the Queen of Raphael. And the Queen of Raphael is kind, understanding, giving, and psychic. Follow your heart, a love of home and family, trustworthy psychic information. Well, of course, if you're watching this channel, you know that the Traveling Tarot is always trustworthy psychic information. So there's the Queen of Raphael there this morning. So we've got two queens this morning. Will we see a third queen this morning? Let's see. I hope so. That would be really cool. That would be really, really cool to have a third queen on our stage this morning. But that's not up to me. That's up to the universe. I'm just shuffling the cards and seeing what happens. So, our third subplot today is brought to us by not the queen, the ace of Raphael. That's okay. It would have been really cool to have three queens up there, but that's okay. We're going to work with this. We are definitely going to work with the Ace of Raphael. A positive new emotional experience, fulfilling romantic relationships, deep and lasting spiritual insights. I love it. I love it. It's perfect. There's the Ace of Raphael. And our two Raphael cards are the Cup cards in our Rider-Waite deck. And of course our Queen of Ariel, our Ariel cards are the Pentacle cards in our Rider-Waite deck. So there we are. We've got our Queen of Ariel surrounded by a whole hell of a lot of emotion. Queen of Ariel, Ariel cards, Pentacle cards are focused on the tangible, physical, very, very much of the world kind of a thing, where it's very much of the five senses instead of the six senses. It's very much of the five senses, touch, taste, hear, smell, see. It's very much of that, very tangible. And then you've got our Raphael cards, which are very much of the emotions. Cup cards, they're very much determined and speak on emotions and spirituality and the occult and psychic energy and all of that water energy. It's a beautiful thing. So we've got our Queen of Ariel surrounded by our emotions, which I get the feeling that whatever our physical concerns are need to be complemented by our emotional concerns, our spiritual concerns, our psychic concerns, the matters of the heart. So whatever it is that we are dealing with tangibly needs to be complemented by the things that we can't feel, that we can't touch, but we can certainly feel. So that is the first thing that jumps out at me. So let's dive into the Queen of Ariel, who again is our matron saint of the Traveling Tarot YouTube channel. And she is mature, practical, generous, and happy. Nurture yourself and those you love. The ability to make anything more beautiful. Practical and wise advice. It's interesting that both the Queen of Ariel is about nurturing yourself and those you love, and practical and wise advice. And the Queen of Raphael is a love of home and family and trustworthy psychic information. So again, whatever we are doing in the physical world needs to be complemented by what our spirit is speaking to us, our emotions, our spirituality, our psychicness, our connection to whatever higher power that we identify with. It needs to be very much complemented by our physical needs, that those things that we can actually experience through the five senses. So our two queens very much complement each other. And what I'm getting from these two is that if your spiritual life, if your emotional life, if your intuition, if your psychic life, if your connection to a higher power, if that is not in sync with what you do on a mundane level, day to day, day in and day out, you're in and you're out. If it doesn't complement each other, then you're out of balance. You're out of whack. You're focusing on one to the detriment of the other. And in general, most people are concerned about physical things. How am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to keep the lights on? How am I going to keep clothes on my back? How am I going to keep food in my stomach? How am I going to take care of the ones that I love and make sure that they're safe and they're okay? How am I going to get through this next day of work? How am I going to get to work through this crazy traffic? How am I going to deal with the stresses and pressures of my job? All of that, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to keep myself healthy and up? How am I going to keep my physicality healthy and up? Most of us are focused in on that aspect of our lives. And what generally happens is we neglect our emotional side. We neglect our spiritual side. We neglect that thing that connects us to our higher power. We end up neglecting that. And our queens this morning are saying, you need to find a balance. You need to find a balance between the two. Nurture yourself and those you love. A love of home and family. Kids just need our love. We sometimes can get so caught up in making sure that our kids' physical needs are taken care of that sometimes we can neglect their emotional needs. Nurture yourself first, Queen of Ariel, and then nurture those you love, a love of home and family. Begin to nurture your kids more. That's coming through really, really strongly. There may be some of us today that, as long as our kids come home from school and they're in one piece, and as long as their homework gets done, and as long as their extracurricular activities get done, we're good. We can shuffle them off to play their Xbox or PlayStation all night long, and we're good. But the Queen of Ariel and the Queen of Raphael are saying that you need to nurture your relationship with your children. And depending upon the age of your children, they can either welcome that with open arms or they can completely reject that because they're teenagers, and teenagers, of course, don't need their parents, or they think that they don't need their parents. All they need are their friends. But whatever stage of life your children are in, whether they are, small, or whether they are teenagers or college aged, or whether they are long gone and out of the house, they still need to have that connection with parents. And it would behoove those of us who do have children to make sure that we are taking care of their emotional needs first. Again, love yourself first and foremost, and everything else will fall into place. If we love our kids first and foremost and make sure their emotional needs are taken care of, everything else will fall into place. Promise. I'm not a parent. No, I'm not a parent, but I believe in unconditional love, and I believe that unconditional love is for everyone. And as long as we are moving about our day with unconditional love as our good and positive intent, we're strengthening those ties that bind us to our kids. Or regardless of if we have kids or not, we are strengthening those ties that bind us all to one another. Practical and wise advice, practical or trustworthy psychic information. Again, complement, 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 balance, balance, balance. Trust yourself more. Psychic information. Trust your gut more. Trust your instinct more. Trust what the spirit is trying to tell you more, and you'll never go wrong. Because sometimes, every once in a while, what seems to be practical and what seems to be wise and what seems to be smart goes against every fiber of your being. It goes against everything that your spirit is screaming for you to do. Follow your heart first. Again, Queen of Raphael, follow your heart. Follow your heart first. Make sure that that is first and foremost, that you are following your heart. Because when you follow your heart and you do what you're supposed to be doing, it becomes a practical thing. It becomes, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So I'm going to do it, and that's the most practical, and it's the wisest thing that I can do for myself right now. Excuse me. So yeah, the Queen of Ariel and the Queen of Raphael are saying, make sure that your physical is meeting your emotional, mental, spiritual, and that connection between you and whatever that higher power is never severed, and everything complements everything. So yes, 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 my queens. Yes, my queens. Let's move on to the Ace of Raphael, a positive, new emotional experience. Fulfilling romantic relationships, deep and spiritual and lasting spiritual insights. This might have to do with someone's lover or someone's mate or someone's partner or someone's husband or wife or husbands or wives for our polyamorous people out there. Especially since it says the fulfilling romantic relationships. Again, as you're strengthening the ties that bind you to your kids, make sure you're strengthening the ties that bind you to the person that you are involved with intimately. A positive new emotional experience. And I also get the feeling that as you do that, as you are opening yourself up to receive unconditional love, and as you're giving that unconditional love freely and fully, that you're strengthening that tie that binds you to your mate or your partner or your mates and your partners, it becomes more fulfilling and it becomes deeper and it becomes longer lasting. A positive new emotional experience, maybe by opening yourself up to freely and fully accepting unconditional love, and maybe by freely and fully giving unconditional love, you're actually opening each other up for a new and positive emotional and deeper emotional experience. After the kids are gone, all that's left is you and your partner. You should take care of that relationship. Make sure that you are consistently and constantly checking in with your partner or partners and making sure that they are okay, and that you, again, strengthening those ties that bind. Deep and lasting spiritual insights, again, I think that it has to do with you personally, but I also do believe that that deep spiritual connection can actually go deeper if we open ourselves up to giving and receiving unconditional love without reservation. I just see positive things. We need to work on perhaps making sure that we're strengthening the ties that bind us to our partners, strengthening the ties that bind us to our children, and making sure that we are in balance between the physical and the spiritual, between the physical and the emotional, between the physical and the mental, between the physical and whatever connects us to our higher power. This is all about family today. This is all about love and all about family today, and I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Spirit, for reminding us to check in with our kids every now and again. Not just to make sure that they're still breathing, but to make sure that they're okay, and not just checking in with our partner or partners to make sure that they're breathing, but to also make sure that they're okay as far as that emotional side as well. So thank you, Spirit, for sharing with us that lesson today. I am sure that there is more than one person out there that needed to hear that today. And even if your kids are at that age where they don't want to have anything to do with you, there is no wrong time to tell your kids that you love them unconditionally. No wrong time for doing that. It might embarrass the hell out of them, which, for some parents that's a bonus. I know that if I was a parent, I would consistently embarrass my kids in front of their friends. It would bring me such joy to embarrass them in very mundane kind of ways, not something that will permanently scar them, but certainly in benign ways. I would consistently embarrass my children just because it would bring me joy. And I know that I'm not the only adult out there that feels that same way, which is probably why the universe said, you know what, you don't need kids. You really don't need to be embarrassing these young, impressionable souls in front of their friends. So maybe you shouldn't have kids. And the universe was right about that, because I would live for those moments where I could show up in booty shorts, roller skates, and I would show up to PTA meetings in roller skates, booty shorts, a halter top, and I would put my hair in pigtails, one on each side of my head. And dare anybody to say anything salty to me. Dare them. So, yeah, that would be me. So it's good that I don't have children. Anyway, let's get down to the nitty-gritty for today. We'll do a 3-card spread, morning, afternoon, and evening, and we'll see if there is anything more specific that the universe wants to share with us today. So let's go. Here we go. Morning, afternoon, and evening. Okay. Our morning is starting with the 6 of Cups. There we are with the 6 of Cups. And it's in the reverse position. The 6 of Cups is all about finding your innocence, going back to more innocent times, discovering the child within you, discovering that part of you that believed in the fantastical and the wonderful and wild and woolly, and getting back into touch with our children. Talking about children, again, connecting with your kids on a more than superficial level, connecting with your kids on a deeper level. I feel like there's somebody out there that needs to hear that today. I feel like there's somebody out there that their kids don't want to have anything to do with them because they've reached that EU parents stage, and you've allowed them to just be that way, but deep inside they still need their parents, even though they're going through those terrible teenage years. They still need their parents. So again, this morning, instead of just driving them to school or asking them if their homework is done or telling them to go change their clothes or whatever, or where did that piercing come from, instead of saying that, perhaps we need to check in with our kids and see how they're actually doing this morning. So that's the first thing. The second thing, this is our midday/afternoon card, and it is our Ten of Swords. There we are, our Ten of Swords. I might need a little bit of clarification on this. Can I get clarification on the Ten of Swords, please? Can I get clarification on the Ten of Swords, please? The Hangman. It's in the reverse position. Okay. Past performance is not indicative, or past past performance is not indicative of future results. Just because it crashed and burned before does not necessarily mean that it will crash and burn now. I feel like that this is perhaps a career thing. Again, when you're a family person, you're dealing with a lot of different live chainsaws that are being juggled and thrown through the air. So I think that this is perhaps a career thing. If it crashed and burned before, that's okay. It doesn't mean that the general idea of what you were going for is a bad idea. It just means that the execution of said idea is resulted in it crashing and burning and dying. The Hanged Man is saying that perhaps having a different perspective on things would help whatever project crashed and burned. If you're not ready yet to give up on the grand idea that you had, come at it from a different angle. Come at it from a different perspective. Sleep on it, rest on it, meditate on it, give it some breathing room, allow yourself to grieve over whatever it was that crashed and burned, cut yourself some slack, and then come back to it and see if it couldn't better work by coming at it from a different angle or a different approach. So today might be the day that you can revisit something in your past that crashed and burned and see if it couldn't be revived by approaching it from a different angle. Finally, we've got our Nine of Pentacles. I love this card. It's one of my favorite Pentacle cards. The Nine of Pentacles. This is the card of being content. This is the card of seeing what you have and being content with what you have. It may not be the mansion on the hilltop, or it may be a mansion on the hilltop. It may not be that you have millions of dollars in the bank, or you could have millions of dollars in the bank. What's important is being at peace and being content with what you have. That doesn't mean that you don't have goals in life, that you don't aspire to more. It doesn't mean that you don't pursue things that you are passionate about. It doesn't mean that you have to let go of any of your ambition, but it does mean, you know, at the end of the day, when you arrive at your home, your castle, your casa, your sanctuary, you look around and you're at peace. Your kids are taken care of. They're well fed. They're well clothed. They're well loved. Your partner or partners are well taken care of. they are well fed, they're well clothed, and they're well loved. And you are well taken care of. You're well fed, you're well clothed. Finding that moment of peace and serenity when it comes to that. No, you don't have to be any less ambitious, but that ambition, again, coming from a different perspective, the hanged man, that ambition is because you're curious. That ambition is, I wonder what will happen if we do this. I wonder what will happen if we do this. I wonder how things will turn out when we try it a different way. It's that ambition is not, I want more, I want more, I want more. It's, I want to try more. I want to try something different. I want to explore. Being at peace with what you have, being at peace with your lot in life, being serene with who you are and what you have brought to the table is an incredible thing. And it's rare that that happens to anyone, that they can look around and be at peace with their lot in life. The universe is advising you to try, to certainly try to be that kind of person that is at peace with what they have. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Again, balance. We were talking about balance up here. This peace and serenity card, being at peace with your little space in life, is so very important. Balance, balance, balance. Thank you, universe. What a glorious lesson. We will take that lesson and we will apply it to our lives, and we will try to be, or we are better spirits for having heard that spiritual lesson today. So let's get into our love, or well, it's not a love and relationship affirmator, it's just a regular affirmator for today. We will shuffle it a couple of more times. A couple of more times? A couple more times. I am grammarlying myself, if that is even a thing. So let's shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And let's cut the cards. And our affirmator for today is playfulness. Loving it, and it's Mary Poppins on a motorcycle. Playfulness. There we are. Playfulness. I am a playful participant in life, and I always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. Mary Poppins puts sugar in the medicine for a reason. That lady really knows how to party. I am a playful participant in life, and I always have the option to make something a fun game rather than a heavy burden. Mary Poppins puts sugar in the medicine for a reason. That lady sure knows how to party. And it goes back to the Queen of Ariel. Again, the ability to make anything more beautiful. The ability to make anything more playful. And again, with the whole, ambition thing and serenity and peace, being ambitious and setting goals because they're fun. Because it's playtime. You have nothing else left to prove. So let's go out there and let's have fun. Let's play. Let's find something that makes our lives happy. And let's explore and play more. Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Take some time out to play. Go out today and be absolutely silly for 20 minutes. That's your homework assignment. Go out and be absolutely silly for 20 minutes. Go out and wear roller skates, booty shorts, a halter top, and put your hair into 2 pigtails on either side of your head and embarrass your kids. Be silly today. There is no reason why you shouldn't be silly today. Go out and play today for 20 minutes. That is your assignment for this evening. And your other assignment is to love yourself. Love yourself fully. Love yourself completely. Love yourself wholly. Love yourself unconditionally. Love yourself first and love yourself foremost, and everything else will fall into place. Have a fantastic Thursday, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.